Hello, and welcome back to Bringing History to Life. Today we're talking about a very special day. VE, Victory in Europe Day, on May 8th, 1945. So we're on the 75th anniversary of the surrender of German forces in Europe to the Allies. Now, it's a unique series of circumstances that happen with the surrender. First, on April 30th, Adolf Hitler commits suicide, and he's gone. The Allies know this, that he is dead, and that it's time to move on to a new government in Germany. Secondly, on May 2nd, 1945, the Soviet Union completes the conquest of Berlin. Berlin falls to the Soviets. It's clear the war is over. There is not going to be a continuation of the fight. And in fact, Canadian forces as early as a month before had started to scale back operations, knowing that risking men for an outcome that was going to be for sure was not worth the men and the loss. So, how did the surrender happen? At 2:30 in the morning on May 7th, 1945, the Allied forces, the Supreme Command of the Allied forces, was in their headquarters in Reims, France. A German delegation of generals came to sign the surrender. The surrender was observed by three different people. The representative of the Supreme Headquarters, an American, a French representative, and a Soviet representative. And the signatures were signed on a document that committed to the unconditional surrender of Nazi Germany. However, that was not going to happen for another almost 48 hours at 23:01, so 1 minute after 11 on the 8th. And so we celebrate the 8th as Victory in Europe Day. But the Soviets were not happy that the agreement had been signed in Reims, France, on what had been not German territory but French territory, and they wanted more symbolism. So the Soviets demanded that the surrender be signed a second time, the next day, but in Berlin, at the Nazi capital, Hitler's capital, to show that the war was truly over. Now the Soviets dressed it up a little bit by saying that they wanted to make sure that it was clear that it was an unconditional surrender, etc. But in reality, the Soviets wanted a spectacle. And they got it. Eisenhower, the Supreme Commander, saw no reason to fight the Soviets on the issue, and so the surrender was signed again at about 9 o'clock in the evening the next day, on May 8th, in Berlin. Still to take effect at 23:01 on the 8th. But to this day, we in the West celebrate Victory in Europe Day on the 8th, and the Soviets celebrate it on the 9th. So the reality was that the surrender of Nazi Germany happened twice. And even perhaps more interesting is while the surrender was to be unconditional and all troops were to turn in their weapons, some lasted till the last delegation, the last group of Nazis to surrender was a small group that was running a weather station in Norway, and they didn't surrender until September 4th of 1945. So, there you have it. That's how the surrender happened, and why we this year are celebrating the 75th anniversary of VE Day. Thank you. Talk to you soon.